Hey guys, good afternoon. Great to be here in Detroit. Wish that you guys could be with us. Excited to have this kickoff event. Be rolling here with Mac Media Days. Great opportunity ahead of us here as we start to come together 2 weeks from Thursday when we report for training camp. Build this 2021 team and embrace the expectations. With being picked first in the East and looking forward to the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Alan.
Can you just expound a little bit more on the? Obviously the underdog days are over, man, and that's one of the goals that you set when you took this thing over. And just kind of talk about that, and does that? How do you kind of carry that into the preseason?
Yeah, I think obviously outside looking in, when you're picked at the bottom, you can kind of champion that. Hey, let's have a chip on our shoulder, and we're the underdog, and but we talked a lot about it, and from day one, we set really high expectations and really high standards that we want to graduate all our young men. We want to keep and own the wagon wheel here in Kent, and that we want to win the East, we want to win the league, and we ultimately want to play in a New Year's Six bowl game, or as this thing expands, hopefully, the 12-team playoff. So that's been the bar, that's been the standard, that's what we've been working towards, the expectations, since day one. And now it's pretty cool, that, hey, there's a little public expectations on the outside. So, we just got to continue to embrace the expectations that we put on ourselves, and that we need to continue to live with purpose as opposed to towards, you're aware of those goals. That's what anchors us and that's what drives us. But day in and day out, living with the purpose to get better each and every single day, to execute with that conviction together that we need to have. And no matter what comes up, I don't know what it's going to be, but there's going to be some sort of challenge down the pipe, some sort of adversity that we're going to face that, we got to find real resolve, real toughness to go harder, longer through. So, that doesn't change. That's who we are. That's interwoven within our culture, within the fabric of our program. And, I think in 2019 we were picked near the bottom and we ended up winning the bowl game, so that prediction didn't mean a whole lot. And, now again, it's great to be on this side of things, but this prediction right now doesn't mean a whole lot. It's a heck of a lot better to have it be well done in December than well said in July here.
We'll open it up for questions. And Alan, why don't we start with you? Any questions here for Coach?
Yeah, just being up in Detroit and just the normalcy of things right now. Can you just kind of talk about that a little bit compared to where things were last year at this time?
Yeah, it's great to be here, to have this collection of great players, great coaches, the people that make this great conference go, to just be connected again, right? Like, we've all gotten accustomed to Zoom and Teams and the things that we're doing right now, and this is great. And this gets us about 95% of the way there, but just to be able to shake some guys' hands, dap up some other players and tell them, how much fun it is to watch them and to compete against them, and to just have this positive buzz and energy, knowing that right now, as we're finishing up, summer conditioning and we're gearing up for training camp, there's really intent behind what we're doing. We know that there's a game coming, whereas this time a year ago, we didn't know that, so it's nice just to be able to have that. And I think we're all better when we have that outcome that we're chasing, that we know that can drive, the responses that we need to have. It's really cool to be here together in this setting.
About, just going through the summer now, and do you get a sense that, things are pretty much back to, I don't know, I keep saying normal, but just the players are in the normal place that they would be, and you guys right now as a team, where you're at right now, things pretty much where you would think they would normally be, I guess.
Yeah, we've been able to, operate and have a schedule. It's really refreshing to sit here, in July, middle of July here, and we sat down with a plan and a calendar that, walks you through January when we got back for winter conditioning all the way through the bowl game. And we've been able to stay on that schedule, on that calendar, and walk it through. Now, are we out of the woods? I think we all know, and we're all aware that we're not. And we have to be aware of different things that are ever present in the environment and the world that we're living in. And we have to continue to do the things that we can do to protect ourselves and be smart and take all the necessary precautions that are at our disposal so that we can continue down this path and do the things that we all love to do.
I know, camp's a couple weeks away, like you said. Based on where you're at as a program now, going into this camp, how is it different than it's been in the past? And what are kind of the goals and that type of thing as you roll into that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess some of the biggest differences is that there's a ton of competitive depth. We've always wanted to preach competition, and we've always been able to, have various open competitions at really unique spots. But I think now you kind of go 1 through 85 with the work that the staff has done with the scholarship players and even, our walk-ons. We're as talented a roster as we've ever had with, the way that our kids have worked, the way that they've developed themselves, the work that the staff has done, the time, effort, and energy that's been put in. We're a talented group right now, which is a fun spot to be in. Those are the guys that you really have a lot of fun coaching. And there's a real general itch and excitement to get to camp, this year, because again, there's real purpose behind where we're going, what we're doing, and what's obtainable this year, so that's exciting. I know the guys are eager to go, staff's eager to go. But again, it comes back to that living with purpose that we have, right? That be the alpha mindset to improve and perform, right? To do and live our core values each and every single day. If we do that, those goals that I mentioned, they'll take care of themselves. We want to obsess about the purpose and living our core beliefs each and every single day with these really, really talented young men that we get to lead. And the outcome, we'll influence it, but we're going to control what we can control with our day-to-day interactions.
That being said, when you look at the East, obviously always tough. You got a couple new coaches. Just kind of what do you see when you look at the East and the teams you're going to have to compete with and beat to achieve your goals?
I mean, it's a battle, right? Week in and week out. Like you said, what the East is always, one of those divisions where you have your favorites this time of year, and there's always teams that surprise and develop and come along. And so you gotta be on your P's and Q's each and every single week, because I think any team on any week, as cliche as it sounds, can beat one another. And obviously there's some new faces leading some new programs, and they're going to put their unique identity and stamps on their programs. And we got to figure out what that is, and what the best way is to go about those particular weeks with some unknowns right now as we sit here, because we don't know how many changes are going to be made within those organizations, what style of play they're going to go and attack with, and how we best need to counter that. So that's what makes it fun, right? That's why we've got coach in front of our name, to do the work and put our kids in the best position to be successful week in and week out against really, really quality people.
Obviously, the spot you're in is very favorable. There's so many things you look at this team and you see that are positive. What do you kind of see as the head coach of this thing? There's always that concern that you have, no matter who you are. What do you kind of see going into this year? Is that maybe that thing or two that that kind of has to get better or has to fall into place, that type of thing, to make you guys successful?
Yeah, I mean, we got to get better at stopping the run, right? That's kind of the first thing that comes to mind. We had a philosophical change defensively that we did last year, that some of that stuff was very limited, and what we were able to, the depth that we were able to dive into with that structural change that we took on. So, it's been good to have the normal off season to really learn the intricacies of the change that we made. So that jumps up there. Obviously, there's quite a bit of production in the kicking game that, real key player, is no longer with us. So we have an open competition there with who's going to be putting their foot to the ball and shoring up an area under Coach Barton's leadership and the emphasis that our kids put on special teams. That has been a competitive advantage for us. There's a lot of roles and opportunities that are going to impact the game in a very big way that we have to solidify. And then offensively, obviously, again, there's the void of production that left with Isaiah having the opportunity of going with the Pittsburgh Steelers, that we need guys to step up. So those are some things that kind of immediately come top of mind that we got to really make sure as we take a deep dive in this 2021 class, in this version of who we are, of really solidifying those points as we go forward.
My last one, just talk about the two young men that you have up there with you. Dustin and KJ, and just, those guys are both single digit numbers. I know that's a big thing in the program, and just what they've been able to bring in the past, and what you see is them doing this year.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help myself when you say their names, like I smile, right? Like they're guys from day one have bought into the vision, the identity, the brand of football that we want to embody. They do things, at elite levels, both on and off the field, and get a chance to spend, the travel up here with them. KJ fell asleep in the truck on the way up with me, but that's all right, no big deal. But just to have that time with them, again, just kind of simple things, right? Simple pleasures of being able to spend time with your guys in the car, coming up here, being able to brag on them, brag on the program, them rocking their single digits and being a part of the Golden Standard is really cool. I mean, they're the reason we're in this spot. It's got nothing to do with what I've done. It's because of what they've done in between the white lines and them buying into it. And, they're probably, them and the rest of the super seniors are the best signees, so to speak, that we had of this 2021 class to get them to come back and, still be a part of this thing and what we're doing going forward.
We got time for a couple more questions here with Coach. So if you got a few questions, just unmute yourself and introduce yourself and go ahead and ask away.
Coach Jack Burney with TV2. You got 9 starters returning on both sides of the ball. How big of a luxury is that for your football team? And how much does that help the younger guys and the new starters accumulate both to their unit and to the playbook?
Yeah, Jack, I mean, it's awesome, to where you have that much experience that's coming back. It's kind of crazy, sitting and thinking about it. We got some redshirt freshmen on the roster that have played in 8 college football games, and they're still redshirt freshmen going into this year. Their eligibility clock hasn't even started, so as best we can, we do, to the best of our ability, simulate and create, game day experiences at practice. But there's just certain things about game day, right? There's certain things about the lights are on, it's a different opponent, you're on ESPN, all these factors that lead to game day, that make game day unique, that unless you get game day reps, like there's, as close as we can get to it, it's like a Zoom call. Like, this is really cool, but this isn't human interaction, right? Like, we can create as close as we can in practice, treating it like a game. And that practice, repetition is game reality. But there's kind of that 5% still that game day is game day. It is different. It is unique. So to have the number of players that we have that have game day experience and game day reps, it just helps everyone have a greater sense of urgency of what's required as we're training to get game ready.
Coach, you mentioned first time ever, you guys have been voted at the top of the MAC East. You mentioned embracing the expectations, but how do you manage those expectations knowing that each team's going to give you their best shot every week because you're not the underdog anymore, you're the favorite?
Good. That means those wins will be that much more meaningful. We'll have earned it, right? And that's how you want it. So again, our building, within our building, the expectations and the standards have always been high, guys. You know that. Jack, you do a great job covering us, and Alan, you've been with us from the beginning. Like, it's, there's no feel good, moments for us. Either we did or we didn't. And so now, like, again, like, this is great. I'd much rather be on this side of the spectrum than where we were a few years ago, with these preseason polls. Again, a testament to the hard work that's been put in. But, let's embrace them and let's lean into it. Like, good, this is where we want to be, right? The first step in a program rebuild is teaching the guys how to win. We've done that. Now, to me, the next step is learning how to handle winning, right? And then once you learn how to handle winning, then you have sustained success. So we're at that fun kind of phase 2, if you will, of this whole organizational overhaul for long-term success, to be able to now there's public expectations, there's public standards that come with, handling winning. And that's where we're at. And we got to go do that. So let's embrace it. They ain't going anywhere. And again, I'd much rather have this than the other side of it where no one's talking about us. But again, all that being said, it's still about work, and the work works. So let's go get what we're capable of doing.
Any last questions here for Coach Lewis out of Mid-American Conference Media Day?
I got one more. Coach, when you were hired as the youngest coach in the Division I FBS coach in the nation, everybody's kind of wondering how that's going to play out, right? Now that you've had some success, When you look back on that a little bit, how have you used it to your advantage? The fact that you're like you just mentioned, how much enjoyment you get just hanging out with your guys, and that's not always the case with head coaches and players. Just kind of talk about how you, as you look back, how you've kind of made that kind of a way to bond with your players and kind of be maybe even a little more closer than a normal head coach and that type of thing, using your age to your advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the question, Alan. I do, but it's kind of one of those unique circumstances for me where I know a lot gets made about my age, but that's something I have no control over, right? So I've been very fortunate to be around great people that I think serve and lead their young men, regardless of their age, at a really, really high level. I mean, Coach Alvarez, I played for him in his last 2 years, but he was always there. He was always available for us, and he served the kids. So, I genuinely love what I do. It's obviously very time consuming. There's a lot of effort and energy that you got to pour into it, but the experiences that we get to have are second to none. To be around these young guys and the whole crew, the guys that have come through, the Nick Faulkners of the world, all the guys that have had a part in this, Alex Hogue, right? I mean, like all these guys that are just the KPs, that they're just so special, right? That's why I'm in it. That's why I love doing it. So you might as well hang, I want to be around them. We were actually talking about it on the way up, just finding ways where we can spend more time around each other, because that's what we missed in 2020. And I don't know, maybe it helps them talk to me a little bit more and helps kind of break down, those walls that, hey, that's the head coach, because we are close in age. But I really hope, if we halfway do this thing the right way, that I'll always have that relationship with the kids, regardless of my age, because they know I'm here for them and I'm here to serve them. And if we ain't doing it that way, then we're not doing it right, in my opinion.
All right, Coach. I think that does it. Safe travels on the way back to the campus. And thank you all for being a part of this. Like I said, we'll be posting this to YouTube and social media here in a matter of moments. So thank you again for a few moments of everybody's time, and go Flashes.